favorite. And beer, 5% tint. That's what that one's called.
I haven't heard of that.
It's pretty solid. We're live, guys. Hello. After hour stream. Let me actually pull up the video separately here.
I'm going to do the same thing.
Me too.
All right. DNA was kind enough to rock the Pikachu hoodie for us, so that's awesome.
Yeah, I want to get in something a little bit more cozy for this. So here we are. We got Basic chilling with us. Yeah, it seems like there's a lot going on in the PK stream. So anybody who's watching, thanks. Y'all are the OGs. Thank you
for it. It's great. Yeah, it was. It sucks I missed that tonight because usually I enjoy watching their back and forth a lot. But usually with these, I've got them scheduled out so far in advance, as you guys know. It's like we got to make it happen. So, yeah. So after hours, guys. I don't. Sorry, I'm laughing at Mason saying, "Look, I only have 2 eyes." Yes, thank you for spending time and using one of them on this stream, Mason. I appreciate it. So usually with these guys, I don't really have questions. We just kind of hang out, talk. So what are you guys seeing right? Yeah, let's hear it.
I didn't mean to interrupt. If I did,
go for it. You're good.
I was going to ask, when you go to Denver, are you actively chasing any cards? Like, do you have anything like in mind, or are you just mainly looking to, just go out and have fun? Obviously that's a priority, but I know I kind of went in with like a mindset, and I picked up, I think 8 or 9 cards, but I didn't know if y'all had anything.
So I'm going to vend. So I'll be vending there both days. Primarily,
I'll be with you.
Oh, are you vending too? Are you going to be in that section?
I just Venmo'd Nick today at Retro, and I decided today that we're going to do it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'll be doing that. And primarily, there's some stuff I'll look at. What I'm really interested to see will be, obviously, I'll be looking for Worlds promos. I don't know if Echo Base will be there, but I will borderline beg him to bring his 04 staff because I do really want to make a deal on that, whether it's trade or just buy outright. But I'll look for Worlds promos, and beyond that, probably just looking at other TCGs primarily. If there's some good Pokemon deals that are out there and people want to put some trade stuff together, that would be great. But realistically, I kind of want to see some new stuff. I want to see some people bring things that are not Pokemon, because I don't get to see that stuff in person a lot. So I kind of want to check that stuff out. And hopefully, unlike yourself, my PSA order is still at PSA, my $18 sub. But I have a lot of different stuff in there. I've got Zelda, I've got Dragon Ball, I've got Pokemon. I would love to get that back prior, just so I can have something that people are not expecting to see. And I want that in return for myself as well. Like, when I do walk around. So that's nothing, not a specific card in mind other than the 04 staff, which I don't even know if Echo Base is going or if he'll even bring that for me, but that'd be the goal.
My main prerogative is to bring some stuff to get other collectors to sign. I'm trying to start like a binder of just like signed cards from other collectors that I meet along the way, or other people that I already know. So that's kind of the primary goal. And then just seeing what else is out there, if anything strikes my fancy. The cards that I need for my personal collection are all pretty low population, harder to find cards. So I doubt I'll find any of them at a price that I'm willing to pay. That teacher salary isn't exactly the highest thing out there, but I'll probably pick up a couple little mementos here and there, odds and ends.
You got to bring the Magmar, make it happen.
We'll do so.
Yeah.
Are you? What are you sending those off? What are you sending those off for?
I don't have any like specific place or timeline in mind yet. This is just my to grade pile. I just pulled it out in case we were going to show off any cards.
I guess I should have worded that differently. I was typing while I said it. What tier are you going to be sending those in?
Oh, I don't know. I'd probably wait a little bit and see what happens with PSA. I'm not in a hurry to send cards out. They still have quite a few of my cards that I'm waiting on. I did get a submission back. What was it? Wednesday, I think. So I at least got a few back, but I'm still waiting on significantly more.
I will be sending a good amount of cards, actually. But one of the cards that I recently got back from BGS, I'll be sending this guy. Oh, great. I forgot about the terrible thing. maybe we can see it on me.
Nobody cares. We all know you're doing repairs unless you have.
It's amazing. The God Rare Vegeta. I got
That's
a
super
BGS
cool.
9.5. I mean, it's a dope card, man. But I wanted a 10. I was like, if I don't get at least a BGS 10, like I'm gonna have to crack this thing. And these slabs are no joke. Like when it comes to like the thickness and like how cool these feel, I've had an old BGS slab, but I've never had one of these newer ones, and I really like them. I like the shape. I like how they feel. Like I like the weight. I will probably never grade with BGS again. I can almost guarantee that. But yeah, it's gonna be like hammer chisel to get this thing out of here eventually. But yeah, I'll be sending that and some Dragon Ball Judge promos, DNA as you. I saved the Dragon Ball for the after hour stream, and then I have a cryptic card that I won in one of Swolepoke's Riddle box giveaways. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with cryptic at all. I'm very novice on it, but Riddle boxes were they made 66 boxes. They sent them out to different like content creators or like just different stuff like that. So it's written in the cryptic language, which is actually something that was created by the creator of cryptic, which I thought was super cool. So I think he's dropped like hints on how to figure out what the cards say and stuff like that, which I thought was awesome. But yeah, so that's what I've got sitting, and I don't know what I'm going to send those in. I know I'll send the Vegeta in Express, but the other ones, I don't know. 50 seem to be taking a while. Dina, didn't you have a recent 50 submission? Like I think you shared that on Discord earlier.
Yeah, so my 50 took 65 days. My 30 I got the tracking number for it today. My 18 turned from my mailbox back to my house in like 21 or 22 days. I don't know how that happened, but I just got super lucky, I guess. I actually moved, I think like 50% of my submission at Collecticon for the 18, which I was really happy with. Yeah, I've had really fast turn times. One of my 30s still in grading, and then one of my 18s is it's research and ID. Yeah,
research
that's what
and
it's
ID. Yeah,
Yeah,
mine have been in
still there.
grading. Mine have been in grading since 7/18, so we're a little over a month now, which still bothers me because you said that they received yours. What was it 7/14 or something like that, like 4 days off?
Yeah, dude, it was super crazy. So Dan, when I put that on IG, I was like, yeah, they turned it in 3 weeks. Dan messaged me and he was like, man, he goes, he's like, that's crazy. And I was like, yeah, I was like, I think it's because of the Art Box Series 2 that I sent with it. And he said he goes, you ought to test it next time and see if that was the reason why, to see if it got sent to a specific grader. But he said he doesn't think that that's the reason why. He said he thinks it's because there's just no way, there's no rhyme or reason, because it's all over the place. And there's also people saying that whenever they got the new 18, that they sent all the 18s to their new facility. And I have like literally submissions built out in PSA for all of my cards at different tier levels between vintage and modern and all this other stuff. Just that way, whenever they do that, I just have to click a button. So whenever I had spare time previously, I would just go in there, build my submissions out. That way I'm not like hard pressed and I can be the first one in the door, hopefully the first one out the door, if there is a rhyme or reason. Yeah, if there is a door, the rhyme or reason to what they do. But I think I was listening to PokeFlips. Maybe it was them, it was somebody, and they were saying that they just think that they're just moving what they can because they're just trying to get through the backlog. And it's not the way that we ideally would want it to happen, but they're just trying to get the cards out the door because that's obviously what's the most important. But I talked to actually had, do y'all know Rock Pokemon?
Mm-hmm. He's awesome.
Yeah, so he was in Nashville yesterday, so he actually hit me up, and we had coffee together yesterday, and he was telling me that his BGS submission from January of 21, yeah, he says his BGS submission from January of 21 is still at BGS, and he said he paid for it like a month ago, and he still hasn't heard anything from them, and he's like, what the hell is going on?
I am not surprised at all. Yeah, that's why Classics, like I was asking, like what tier you're going to ship it into, because I've got 2 submissions at PSA now, and I'm about to have a third one that I send over. But one of the things I've thought about is, because I've heard of people, when you put multiple submissions in your shipment, like I wonder if that actually gets it graded faster. Like I'm just putting on the foil hat whenever I was thinking about it, because I'll be expensing. I wish I was expensing this, but I'm expressing the Vegeta. So if I express that, and maybe the one tier lower than that, I put the rest of the cards in there. Like they're gonna have to open the box to get the express. I'm wondering if it'll input it quicker and they'll just push it through to try and get it all out the same day. I'm sure it's highly unlikely, but I don't know if you've ever experienced anything like that. But ever since DNA said that he had these specific cards, I guess that he sent and it got to that main grader or whatever it was, like I've been like trying to hypothesize and find a way to get it back quicker.
Yeah, I think it's a reasonable hypothesis. I wouldn't get your hopes up too much though. Here's one of the cards from my recent order that I got back. And when I say recent, this order was from February of 2021. Just got it back on Wednesday.
So you told me in a live chat, I think it was the PokeFlips live chat. You have what is your oldest submission that's there right now?
That was the oldest one.
Okay, you got it back.
Yep. So now I have 2 submissions when they drop to the $30 tier. I got those out on the first day. And I divided them up because there's different types of cards in each. So I figured I'd send them in 2 packages rather than 1. Then hopefully at least double up the chance of getting one of them early. And then I have 1 submission out on the $18 tier, which was also sent out on the first day.
Yeah, the $18 tier is strange because DNA is not the only person I've seen like talk about like getting a submission back or it moving through really quickly. And then plus them saying like they were going to get the backlog done before that. I'm just like, I don't know. And again, I say this not like crapping on PSA too much, but every grading company's got bad stuff going on. But with PSA, it seems sometimes they'll go through spurts of like consistent like returns, and then sometimes they'll just completely like randomize it. It's very hard to like track when this stuff happens. But yeah,
historically they've been like very consistent with turnaround times, and it's just like the last couple of years that have been absolutely unpredictable.
Yeah, I remember sending my first cards back for like $10, I think, and that was like regular like pricing or whatever, and they came back I think literally like 4 weeks later, and it still felt like forever. And then I had an order out for like 18 months or however long it was. Exactly. I couldn't remember, and I was just like, oh wait, that 4 weeks was like nothing. I completely forgot about the cards I had in that submission, and yeah, it was funny to get those back in 6 certs were already like the most recent. It was just pretty eye-opening with that. What were you saying, DNA?
PSA is not the only one doing this though. Like CGC, they're literally all over the place too. I've had 4 subs with them in the last 2 months probably. One was that dude. I hate FedEx so much. That's a whole different side rant. It's the one weird time where like anything that's government ran is actually more efficient than the people who are in the open competitive market. Because FedEx literally always shows up at my house at like 7 p.m. at night. And today I was supposed to get a CGC submission back, and it's delayed. FedEx, I just always have issues with FedEx and UPS. But anyways, I submitted. So they have 2 different grading facilities, or they have two different graders for tops and for regular TCG cards, which it's kind of frustrating how they do it, because obviously when you have a grading company, you have to have insured shipping. And when they break it up, they ship them out whenever they could get completed. So instead of getting hit with 1 shipping bill, you get hit with 2. So it's an extra 20, 30, $40 depending on, the estimated value, which is, it's small comparison, but obviously it eats into your cost whenever you're looking to sell this stuff. Cause I don't collect really anything CGC, with an exception of that 1 perfect Deoxys I just got back. And that was just like one of the cards I needed to get to the 50 bulk tier. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to hold on to this one because I like Deoxys. But yeah, as far as that goes, the first submission I sent out was split between tops and TCG, and they turned my tops in like 9 days or something crazy. And my TCG one got to my house like 10 or 15 days later. And then I just sent one off whenever I got the same day I got those back. I sent off another one, and they shipped off my TCG first, and my tops are still in schedule for grading. So it makes like no sense. Either they got bombarded with tops cards or the TCG cards. There's a lot less of them. I don't know. They might have shifted the grading, graders from tops to who knows. But I think trying to find a rhyme or reason in how grading companies do things, because they are behind hidden doors. There's not really a secret method to it. But the one thing I was going to say that Collecticon, I was going to kind of hit on it earlier. this is one of the many things that changed my perspective on, was that I thought CGC was really, really inconsistent, and I definitely still do, between them not having an actual centering scale and how lenient they are in surface, because they take print lines as factory defects and they actually don't count against print lines in most scenarios, which I didn't know.
So there
go ahead.
is something to add to that. So again, this is not like, I'm not saying it's written down. I'm not saying anything like that, but I was told that there was an employee talking about CGC and how they actually do factor those in, but the website still says they don't. So that may actually end up changing in the very near future to where they don't actually like let those pass through. Like they will start counting those. So I don't know if there's current submissions that are going to be held to that standard, because that was my initial reaction, was people sent these in with a certain expectation of, it's like if they said, okay, now we're going to immediately get you for dents, like, a fourth of their submissions go away at that point. But
Exactly.
it's one of those things that I don't know how updated the website is on that. Again, speculation told through a secondhand person who shared it with me, but that is something to keep in mind when it comes to print lines. If you plan on, not you, but the general you, if you plan on sending a bunch of those cards, maybe just know that unless those are quickly turned around, that may actually be hitting you like today.
Yeah. And so with that, 3 out of the 4 perfects that I got my last submission, they all had 1 or more print lines, and they showed in the scans. And the centering scale, like you said, it could not be up to date. But to kind of hit that, to say it doesn't really make any sense, is I submitted some modern OC cards, and I didn't pay for the extra $5 additional, because I've always been told that unless it's PSA, if you're going to CGC, what I've always been told is don't submit to them with the it's not the, is it the pedigree? No, it's not the pedigree. What's it called? The qualifiers. Like, don't submit and pay an additional money for the qualifier, because you might pay additional money for something that might not actually happen, and they're still going to deem it and charge you. So I submitted 5 OC cards from the same sheet. 3 out of the 5 got dinged to an error, so I got upcharged, and the other 2 didn't. So, and I've seen the same thing happen on their threads, on their website. It just doesn't really make any sense. But I thought their inconsistencies were a lot worse than PSA's. But after looking at cards that I was gonna buy for my PC, because I'm very, very picky about the tins that I buy, I saw a lot of bad PSA tins while I was at Collecticon, and it really changed my perspective on a lot of stuff. It was actually kind of frustrating, because they weren't just 2 certs. I did see some bad 2 certs.
I was just about to say, I was like, the 2 cert curse is so hard with a lot of
but
those.
I didn't see any bad 6. I saw 1 bad 6 cert, but a bulk of the bad stuff I saw was 4 and 5 certs, which is pretty upsetting.
What's up,
Handsome?
Basic.
What's going on, gentlemen?
I have no idea how long you were sitting in that lobby. So if you were in there for a while, my apologies.
Literally for about 45 seconds to a minute. So.
Okay, good. I was paying attention to DNA the whole time, and I looked down and I saw the fan, and I was like, uh-oh. I was like, I wonder how long that's been running in the background on us.
Yep, the new Binford 3000 fan. First, just want to let you guys know it's been swapped out. So
still not turned off though. It will still not run out. That's awesome.
He actually has a backup generator just for the fan.
I mean, priorities, right? It's like the fridge. No. We got to have the fan on. Come on.
When you're in Texas, you need that second generator.
Dude, that is true.
Yeah.
We got a ton of rain out here for a while, and it cooled things down to. I told my wife the other day, I was like, man, it's like, I'm so glad it's like actually cool outside. She's like, it's 84 degrees. I was like, it's winter. This is great, because we've had like 105 like every single day. Classics you talking about. I think you said Minnesota is where you live.
Yep.
Yeah. So you're like, it's like this perfect, like, summer and all of that. I don't think I've ever had a perfect Texas summer in my life. Like, it's always just completely brutal.
Let me clarify. Our summers are generally awful because, contrary to popular belief, because we're so far up north, it still gets up above 100 on a regular basis. But with all the lakes that we have, it just creates this mist steam effect where our humidity is off the charts. Then with all of the lakes, the mosquitoes are unbelievable. You can hardly be outside for more than 10 minutes.
It's like Florida. That's how I feel every time I go there.
Florida, yeah.
Yeah, I came down from Wisconsin. So Wisconsin, Minnesota, we're on the same freaking degree, you know, and same story. Summers, humid. If it hits 90 degrees in the summertime, it is ridiculously humid. It's obnoxiously humid. You need to be in the shade with a cool drink or in the pool. Otherwise, you don't want to be outside. And you hit it right on the head. Classics. Mosquitoes. Oh my God. It's terrible. Here, at least here in San Antonio, I don't know about you, Peak, but here in San Antonio, I haven't seen a single mosquito in about a year. Well, a year and a month. No, a year and a month now. Not a single mosquito. That's a great.
They're not too bad. They kind of pick and choose. It's like I think it's even too hot for the mosquitoes in the summer. They come out in the fall. They're like, oh, it's getting chilly. You're coming outside. It's almost like they've evolved to adapt to humans coming outside in Texas. It's like we're only coming out in like late October. It's like that's when we're gonna make our appearance. But hey, I wanted to ask you, Basic, since you went to Long Beach, how was it, man? Let's hear the takes. You vended, so was this is your first time vending, right?
Very first time, only because this is the only time I've had this many junk slabs sitting in my possession at one time. But no, it's I call it junk slabs, and on the live that you guys were doing before, I mentioned that Collecticon changed my entire mind on the term bags, because the first day it was just nothing but, oh, amazing rare, oh, freaking 2019 Zard, oh, it was all modern. And what really no pun intended piqued my interest, right, was that it was, whoa, these guys are really genuinely happy and excited to see that amazing rare card, or that I believe it was, I still call it modern, but Shining Legends was like as far back as I went when it comes to modern. I still call it modern, but whenever people would see those cards, like, oh my God, these are great. And those were bought out instantly. Every modern card pretty much in essence were bought out. And shout out to Ivy, she sold me a table. So she had one table, I had one. And she had, her own, between modern and vintage herself, and modern was just selling left and right. And again, it was the genuine interest in modern that really made me feel like there really is no such thing as bags if you just want the item. If you just want the item and you're excited for the item, there's no such thing as bags. So
one thing that I will add on to that, and I haven't seen it at events, but like on eBay specifically, like I've definitely overhauled like a lot of my listings, and I'm actually moving stuff. I've moved a lot of stuff in the last like 3 or 4 months. The very first thing that I had a ton of views, ton of watchers, ton of offers was modern product that I had. Specifically, the one that I can remember was I had the VMAX. I don't know if it's VMAX, but the in the not the ultra premium collection of Celebrations, but the premium collection with the Pikachu statue. It came with a promo in there of Pikachu. So I graded that a 10. And I had so many offers on that. That thing sold literally the same day I listed it, which really doesn't happen very often with the stuff I list. But that, and then just some of the other like Chilling Reign stuff that I'd graded, I set it off. Just why not, And that stuff was the very first thing that I had demand for. So I'm seeing that online as well.
Yeah, and I was very nervous about the whole event, or I should say me vending specifically, because listen, anyone that paid attention to my submission return that tuned into my lives, I mean, I got wrecked, as shout out to Retro, as he would say. I got wrecked. And I was really nervous because I got a lot of mid grades, a lot of vintage stuff, a lot of nice vintage stuff. But I would say my modern was probably in the 15% range. But everything else was vintage, but still the mid grade stuff. And I had a theory though going into it. This was my optimism, or I should say, that was my optimistic view, was 90% of the people walking into the door of Collecticon are going to be in that $20 to $100 range slab, buyers, versus the $1,000 to $2,000 or even higher, slab buyers. So from that standpoint, I felt optimistic that I would do okay. I thought that my optimistic side said, okay, if I come back with 60% of my stuff, like that was a great weekend. I came back with like 5% of my stuff. And that was just an amazing weekend. DNA kind of told the story of one buyer. He came by, he bought about 125 slabs. It was awesome. He was a local store. They own 2 different stores. And he bought 125 slabs. And when I think that was Saturday, Sunday came around, and I had about a couple hundred left, to be honest. By the closing end, this one guy came over and said, how much to buy you out? I'm like, well, this and that. I think I'm just going to send them back or take them back home. And he says, no, let's work out a deal right now. How much to buy everything that you got right now? And so we start talking percentages. And once we meet, somewhere in the middle, we start going through every slab, and he bought everything. I came home with 42 slabs out of 454.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
Very productive.
It
Dude, I wasn't obviously there for the second story or whatever, but those guys, there's like 2 or 3 of them. I think there's 3 of them that came over.
Yep.
They had a rhythm. Like he was like, I want this and this, and there's a guy over there in the corner. He was like comping stuff, and he was like, I want this for this price, and you're just like scratching out and writing it down. And yeah, they had a rhythm going for sure. I mean, he bought 125 slabs in probably 25 minutes, 30 minutes tops.
Something along those lines, yeah. And DNA, thank you for your help, because you were a lot of help during that transaction.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
And Ivy, thank you for your help on the second transaction, because you guys made it a lot smoother on my end. So I definitely owe you guys a beer.
It makes me wonder too, and I mentioned this in the live we did, the actual episode, is if it was a store owner who wanted to have Pokemon inventory that hasn't had it before, but what just entered my mind as well is I wonder if that store has a Whatnot account as well. Because traditionally, like, you buy sub $50 slabs, like in bulk, you're either, I mean, it's kind of like the pack breaker mentality for slabs, right? Like, it's going to be a Whatnot person. So yeah, that was a good pickup on your end, man. Those are the guys you want to meet usually with that. Hopefully they didn't ask for some crazy discount, but it sounds like you made out pretty well in that.
Yeah. No, it was an awesome. Again, I was being, I always look at the worst case scenarios, and I was planned for the worst case scenario. That way I can't be disappointed. And I was worst case scenario. I said, if I don't sell a single slab, just the experience alone of being behind the booth instead of for a change, instead of in front of the booth and trying to buy inventory and this and that. It was awesome. I don't know if regret is the right word I would use, but just seeing these guys hanging out, DNA, Green Shiz, Nick, Josh, just seeing these guys hanging out and whatnot. I was definitely a little disappointed, but knowing that I was there for business first, right? I knew that I would get wrecked on top of me probably getting wrecked, just not selling wise. If I went out and I had a few drinks and partied, I just would have been disappointed in myself if I didn't make it there at 7:30 at 8 a.m. So yeah, a little disappointing from that stance. But hey, we still have Denver.
Yeah, I'm obviously kidding when I'm saying this, but I offered to buy Basic a couple drinks. I tried to get him to come out with me multiple times, and he's like, "Oh man," he's like, "I'm getting old. I gotta be up early in the morning." And I was like, "Dude, just come out for like 2 drinks." He's like, "Man, 2 drinks turns into 5 drinks, and then 10 drinks, and then he's like, we're out till 2 a.m, shutting the bars down."
Basic and I will be probably hanging out in the bingo halls while we're in Denver. I'm just like, yeah, dude, it crushes me. It takes I'll be like, I'm having coffee at a dive bar, but okay, whatever.
DNA was 100% peer pressuring me into drinking, and
he sent me a pretty funny photo while he was at Long Beach of him and Cole, Aesthetic Chip. He was like, "Hey, I met Cole," and it was the blurriest, most action shot photo. He was standing still, so somehow I'm not sure, but
he gave me I guess he doesn't drink. He gave me his drink tickets. So when you walked in the Whatnot event, you got 3 free drink tickets. And then he gave me his. So we're having a good time. But dude, his collection's insane. I didn't know what all he had because I haven't had a chance to watch that yet. But I recognized him because I watched like 5 minutes of it, and then he was like showing me all these like autographed Japanese gold stars and all this crazy stuff, and I was like, wow.
Sorry, Swami, what's going on, man?
Oh, hey.
I'll ask you the same question. I was gonna say I'll ask you the same question as Basic. How long were you in the lobby? And I'm sorry, you had to comment on the video. To
Oh
actually
no,
go,
I
"Hey, I'm in the
didn't. I don't
lobby."
wait around. I let you know as soon as I got here.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I got a question for Classics though.
Fire away.
So you sent me the purple energy, and I've got the footage that I need for the purple energy, but and I'm actually shipping it out to OKJ Love at the end of the weekend here, and I don't know, like I just want to make sure I'm doing the video I was going to put together was basically like the whole journey and Pokemon, and I'm not really in Pokemon anymore, so I kind of was explaining I'm like involved in all these communities. What is the Pokemon energy supposed to be about exactly?
My understanding of it is it's just kind of the meme of sending it along and just connecting the community together, and you're supposed to donate to a charity when you receive it. So I think that's the main purpose.
I got
And
that.
there's no part of it that's like supposed to be video oriented. That's just what I chose to do with it. They just want like flat Stanley style, take a picture with it somewhere meaningful to you and then pass it on.
Oh,
So
okay.
Swami actually has this at the $18 tier with PSA right now. Is that against the rules or
The $18 tier for what?
for
Regrading it.
PSA? He's getting it graded.
I almost cracked it open and put something inside and then resealed it, but I don't want to upset anybody, so I didn't do that. But I was this close.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think whatever you choose to do with it will be perfectly fine as long as there's like some sort of track record of all the people that it's made it to, and then some sort of location attached to it so that they can look back and see all of the different places that it's been.
Gotcha.
And if you do more with it, that's even better, because I think having that element of having like some sort of personal connection or story attached to it just makes it more interesting for people to follow.
Do we all spitball ideas for what Swami should do with the purple energy?
The big meme behind it, though, is like the fact that it got an 8.5 and it's an energy card. That's like the big meme behind it, because CGC, like early certs, they gave everything an 8.5, and it's like an energy card. So it's like the baggiest of all bags that you could have.
Yeah,
I like that.
I mean, let's see. So I was gonna crack it open, right? Because CGC, you could crack their cases pretty easy. And I have a resealer, like I can weld it myself. But I don't know. Like, I don't want to piss anybody off. Okay.
I would suggest not cracking it since everybody's signed the case.
Yeah.
Send it to space.
Take it to space.
Send it to space.
Yeah.
See, while it's with me, it's in space.
I mean, you do live in Colorado, so that makes sense.
I'm always on the moon, boys. Always on the moon.
That makes sense. You should go on a mountain somewhere. Go on a hike. Take a photo at the top of the mountain. That'd be sweet.
You should showcase it with some cool Marvel cards.
Yeah. There you go.
And
I actually have included. So I was making a video, and I included the what do you call it? Crazy Bones. Because I still have the Crazy Bones from when I was a kid. Basically, like tying it in, like I'm just a collector, and yes, I don't buy Pokemon anymore, but like it's not about the Pokemon cards, it's about the community. And I mean, there were Discords at like 2 a.m. in 2020. I think Classic stayed up on one of those in E4 Discord. I mean, some of those went till like 2-3 a.m, and you're playing Among Us with Mr. Pratt and Radar and Squeaks and like all these different people. It just 2020 was so insane. Like I never thought I would be a part of like a Pokemon community like this, like this is crazy. Isn't this wild?
It's pretty fun, man. A lot of good people in this that have been brought together because of this hobby. We talked about that in the episode too, about how kind of the impact that the community's had on everybody, and it's it kind of the passion it brings out in people that you don't really expect to have is what I really, really enjoy the most about it. It's just such a fun hobby to get to know people around, and I don't know, it's
Like-
a very open hobby because I've definitely been involved with like a lot of different collectibles, not just cards, and they're not all like that. Just so anybody knows, like not all collectible hobbies are this open and this like, yeah, I'll talk to you. Like most people are like, who are you? So that's one thing I've never
Like Mason
experienced.
put in the chat, he's like, it was the social experience we needed. And it's like, we didn't have any social experience before this. And isn't it weird that, you know, before it was just what's his name? Just the pack breakers, and then there were a few, but there's nothing like this, right? There weren't conversations being had. And we go into a pandemic where everything locks down. Most people lost social experience. Like their social experience reduced, and mine exponentially grew more than I ever had before. You know, I mean, especially in the hobby. I didn't talk to anybody about the hobby before, but now it's just crazy. Like it had the opposite effect of what most people went through. My wife struggled through COVID. She's like, I am losing my mind here. I need to go talk to people. I'm like, I'm talking to people every night. You know, it's completely completely different experiences.
Thrifty mentioned it on the live prior to this one, and she said the fact that we're all friends at this point is crazy. And how many people, and there's some, right? There's definitely some, but how many people can generally say that they were friends and knew each other and they had communication within each other before 2020? Not a lot.
Yeah.
Out of the people that are constantly doing content, you know, have YouTube channels, you know, what have you, it doesn't matter. How many people can actually say, yep, I was friends with DNA and Peak and Classics and Swami before 2020? Honestly, every single one of you guys I knew post 2020 or post, you know, post COVID, you know, or during COVID. So yeah.
Jake, you know that he's got like a pallet of V friends, like somewhere in his bunker. He's speculating hard.
I'm actually
No, I can agree with you. Basic. It's one of those things too. Even like when we met at the pop-up shop, because I've talked about this like a couple of times. Like we were talking to each other like through IG like for a while, for like months before I even knew like you were going or I was going, like anything like that. So I think that's what's fun about like having the organic like relationships, like in all of you guys. Like we've chatted, and like it's never been around like what content can we make or like what can we do to like push platforms, or it's literally just been let's talk about cards, or let's just like talk to each other a bit. You know, that's what I found really, really enjoyable about it, is because it's and even part of the like series I'm doing, like a lot of these people don't even have YouTube channels. So that's what's even more fun, is like getting the people that I've just organically gotten to know through conversations and being like, hey, I'm doing this thing. People should know about you because like you're awesome. So and I feel the way about all of you guys. So yeah, I completely agree with you, man. Like the actual friendships that are made in this are so important, and I won't say completely unique to this hobby, but the volume of them I would say is unique, at least in my experience.
It's a crazy, awesome, and fun story. Like literally, I know my story of like how I first got connected to Swami. You know, that was the most epic connection that I have in this hobby to this day. But Peak, my connection with you, DNA, my connection with you, and Clash, my connection with you. And it's funny because just today, it's funny how this works because we're having a conversation about it. But Peak, I was thinking about, you mentioned how we were talking already on IG and whatnot before this. It got me thinking how the literal, like how it all stemmed, you know, your relationship with me, my relationship with you. We were always in the lives. I would always see your name. You always see my name, right? And I think at some point you mentioned, and I couldn't remember what live it was, whose channel it was, but you said, all I want is to be recognized one day in a live chat, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then literally the next live that I saw you pop in, I said, whoa, it's Peak That Shoe. No way. And you
No, I used to, to give context, I used to always joke about it because people would like join in the chat or whatever, and people like, oh man, what's up, blah, 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 what's up, blah, blah, blah. And I joked about it. I was like, I just want somebody to say, what's up, Peak? And then, Basic said that, and I was just like, friends for life.
And then
It just cracked me up. It was more of a troll of like how excited people would get for specific people to join chats. And I was just like, I would just throw it out there randomly. I'd be like, I'm here. Hi. Just like bugging people just to laugh about it. Yeah, I remember that. That's really hilarious.
To add on, I think one of the things that makes it cool isn't just that you have these communities and friendships established, but it's also the diversity of it. Because if you think about like the geographical diversity, we otherwise probably wouldn't be talking with each other because of where we all live. But then also the interest that people bring in, and even with other collectibles, like pretty much every one of us here has other interests that don't necessarily intersect. But then also ages and demographics, maybe not necessarily just with those of us here on the live stream, but you go to Collecticon, you see kids that are 5 years old that are really excited. And you see Gary, who's much older than the rest of us. And, it's just that really cool area where there is that intersection from tons of different perspectives, walks of life, experiences. But it's that one unifying piece that opens the door. And I think that's one of the things that I like the best about it is I'm kind of a socially awkward introvert most of the time, which a bit ironic being a teacher, but having that like common interest as that conversation starter makes such a big difference.
Yeah, you made me think of Pokegal, because Pokegal, one of her mods, I believe, was like a retired lady, older lady. And it's so interesting. You got Pokegal, who is in her own right. She's a very interesting character, right? She's a successful, she's like a tax attorney, which is two words that are intense, right? And she has one of the most intense collections I've ever heard of or seen. But then you have, her mod is a retired lady, and those were very interesting. You had a couple guys that I think were crushing on Pokegal in there, and she had a very good back and forth with at least one of them. But, just like the diversity of everyone in here. And it's just crazy to see different niches too. Like Bulba Squad, he's got a whole crew. I haven't tracked Bulba Squad for a long time, but there's all these like little crews that kind of sprouted up, which is why I wanted to send the purple energy to J Love to kind of like get it out the see where he would send it is really where I'm most interested. But can I share something? This is for classics.
I don't know if I have to do anything, but yes.
No, I don't think you do.
I'll solo lay out you.
So let me know. Okay.
Got it.
So I've been looking for this shirt for probably over 20 hours of my life. Okay. Casually, but still, on the side, like I'm talking with you guys and I'm looking for this shirt. This is the Super Trainer Showdown qualifier tournament. Okay. There's not a lot to it. If you need, I can send these images anywhere and people can help try and search. I've done Google search this image, but Classics has all of the shirts except for this one. And it's coming down to crunch time because are you coming to Denver Classics?
I'm planning on it. Yeah.
So it's getting down to crunch time and your boy Swami is still unable to locate the shirt. I've been in the weirdest clothing websites. It's fascinating what websites people can sell or what clothes people are selling on these random obscure websites. But if anyone has ever seen this shirt or knows where I should look, let me know.
Swami,
that's all I want to do.
I may have somebody for you that probably has it.
My closet.
Please
No,
don't
he's,
strain yourself searching for this shirt, Swami. It's okay.
Oh no. This is a personal mission now.
I've noticed, and I'm flattered, but I also feel guilty.
Don't feel guilty. This is a personal goal. This has become a whole other thing outside of itself.
I have been looking for it for several years, so if you've got 20 hours into it, just know that you might have significant.
You've got a few more years.
Yeah.
No, I'll have John Brooks on. He might have it. This guy has everything. I'm telling you, like, so Swami, I don't know if you caught everything in the last, like the live that we did for the episode, but
I did.
So John Brooks, Blastoise kid, he actually won the 2002 Super Trainer Showdown, and all his brothers won them for like years. And his dad kept, I won't spoil too much because obviously he's going to be on in a couple of weeks, or 2 weeks. But his dad kept everything that they won, immaculate. So, and he has everything from clothes, cards, banners, like hats, like everything. So send me that picture. I think you just did. I think I just got a notification for it. I'll see if I can find it for you.
Great. Thanks. That'd be a massive help. Appreciate it.
Are you trying to like sell it to classics or
Yeah,
Or-
Swami
No,
wants to
I'm
buy. Swami wants to buy it on the low, and then
If
get
if
the
the guy wants to sell it for $1,000, I'm gonna have to sell it to classics, right? But if I can get it for a decent price, I just want to give it to him.
what's that shirt
Hey.
basic?
I thought it was the same shirt that Swami was looking for, but I don't think, I don't think that's the one.
Basic just goes on like Vistaprint and makes it and goes, I found it. Here it is.
It needs to say
We're
Caster Life.
Yeah, Basic is supposed to teach me MetaZoo.
Hey man, I'm down Denver.
What is it? What is it, Basic?
That is that's
If I
from
get any closer, it's gonna mess it up.
Cryptid
So,
Nation. Or is that Nightfall?
evil wins.
I'm,
I don't
You
know.
just gave it
That's the
away.
name of the card.
Oh, come on, basic.
He was asking the set.
yeah, the set.
I have no idea. I won this on Whatnot. So
Okay.
I thought you were the Pokemon knowledge of MetaZoo.
I'm not the guru. I'm not.
He basically
I'm
is.
not MetaZoo guru. I'm not MetaZoo guru.
He's
That
Basic.
guy's like,
You
I
have
think
to
it came
evolve.
out on August 29th, 2012.
30K
And that's
Mothman.
important.
30K Mothman.
Basic. I just graded some CGC with MetaZoo. I graded 4 cards with them. I graded an Ogua. I hit a 9.5. A Dart Shard Meteorite, just because I thought it looked cool, is a 9.5. Pamela, and a 9. And then I hit a Lechuse at a 9.5. I was hoping to get some 10s, but I didn't.
okay. Does everybody know the story behind this card that your average player is talking about right now?
Yeah.
He's talking about the number 1 girl trainer. This is like crazy. Only Collectibles, aka Motion. He talked to this competitor's like parents for like 10 years to get this card. And we've only seen the original pictures that they posted like whenever it first came out from 2002. And that was it. Like there's never been another photo. It's never been for sale or anything like that. And he just recently graded that maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And it came back at Gem Mint 10. And it's the very first graded copy. Like we probably will never see like another copy, but shout out your average player. This guy got to meet and hang out and hold like crazy cards while he was at Worlds. Because Fuji and all those guys were there, but I don't know. I just wanted to throw that story out there because that number 1 female trainer is like crazy that thing even popped up this year. Anyway,
So what happened? Did the parents finally say like, here you go?
He had talked to them trying to get them to sell for 10 years straight, and they finally like caved in, and he bought it for 82,000 raw. And
He bought it for $82,000. So I would love to know the conversation. Like the first year, was it $500? And then he's like $1,500 the next year. You know,
There probably wasn't a price if I had to guess, because these are like original Japanese competitors, and I don't have any experience.
I would love to know that conversation. So was he just saying, can I buy it? Can I buy it? Can I buy it? And then finally they said, how about 100,000? and he was like 100,000. I don't have 100,000 cash. Like, let me work on it. Hey, can we do 60? And they're like 82. Like, I would be very curious to know how that went about.
It was
Or
an even number yen, so I'm assuming they just named their price at that point because I mean there's no like for a card like that, it's like you don't really have any negotiating power at that point because anyone like with that amount of money to spend on it would probably buy that card if they knew about it.
Yeah,
but that is interesting.
Your buyer pool is very, very, very small to spend that much money on a Pokemon card, especially if someone who's going to be the end buyer of it to get that final premium. I'm not saying that they don't have any negotiating power, but for someone to spend $82,000, you know, that's a significant down payment on a house, and you can do a lot of money with $82,000, obviously.
Well,
yeah, he might have had to refinance his house in order to get the 82,000. You know, like
he's got like it's a pretty ridiculous like only collectibles on Instagram if anybody wants to know who I'm talking about. But his storage bins are like legendary. Like it doesn't even make sense like how much stuff he has that's like insane. But DNA to that comment you had, so there's 4 of these that were ever made because they were winner cards in like previous worlds, like basically world championship. So there's 4, and this is the only one that's ever come up ever. Even if
I know what the card
20
is.
people. Yeah, so like if it's like 20 people, I guarantee you that like he was just the first person they talked to and actually who knew like those people personally, I'm assuming, like based on 10 years of going back and forth with them. But yeah, even with a card that low pop or like just low print, I would think that they would at least be able to sell it, or even they could just throw it in an auction house. I mean, that's one thing they could have done with it. But it's kind of like a snap card. It's like there's always people that are going to spend that amount of money on those, and that's like definitely going to fall in there because it as of right now, like it's a 1 of 1, and it just happens to be a 10, which is insanity.
I'm just so curious as to the logistics of all of it, because it is curious that was he really trying each year? Did he hit them up, or does he just kind of know them and he's always trying?
This is pretty funny. He just had it in the back of his car. I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't leave home without it. It's like I might as well keep this with me in case somebody breaks into my place. But
but what if they break into your car?
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah,
that's why you keep it in your pocket. No.
I'll tell like a semi funny story about Long Beach. So I was at the Whatnot trade event, and the guy who was at the bar was like asking me, he was like, "So y'all are here for like Pokemon or like collecting or like what's going on?" I was like, "Yeah, man." I was like, we're all just a bunch of nerds coming out here to do some trades, drink, have some fun. And he was like, "Cool." He was like, "What's the most expensive card you own?" And I was like, and I told him, and he goes, "Well," he was like, "How much is that worth?" And I told him, and he goes, "Okay, cool." He's like, well, mine's worth 5,000. And I was like, no way. I was like, that's super awesome, man. I was like, what do you have? And he said, I have a super, super great condition, first edition, base set jungle Machop. And I was like, and I didn't want to be like a dick and be like, Machop wasn't in jungle. And that's not worth $5,000, even if it hit like a PSA 10 or a black label. I was just like, even if that was a card. And I was just like, yeah, man, that's super cool. He's like, yeah, I was telling my brother, and, it's both of our cards, childhood cards. Like, I'm going to hold on to it for like 20 years and hopefully we'll make some really good money on it and all this other stuff. I was like, yeah, man. I was like, that's super cool. And I just like grabbed my 2 gin and tonics and walked away. And I was just like, what? I was like, in any other circumstance, when someone's like, yeah, I collect Pokemon, you could probably like pass it along. But like you're talking to people who traveled from across the country to go to a specific event, and I just thought it was really funny.
It's always hard being in those situations too, when somebody specifically approaches you for your expertise to appraise their collection. You got to be like, ooh, yeah, actually this collection that you think is worth a fortune, it's not.
Yeah.
So my brother was pretty funny because when he found out that I was really back into this, and I have a twin brother, so we literally did this together until we were 10 or 11. But he lives in Austin, Texas, and I went out to his place and was hanging out, and he was like, him and his wife, he was like, well, we have a binder upstairs, like, can you look through it? And my brother knows nothing really about it, doesn't really recall a lot of it. So I was looking at it, and it's like the condition stuff blew his mind. Like I would look on the back and there was like, whitening like all over the rim. I'm like, no, that's not really going to do anything. He's like, what do you see? Like he had no idea like about condition. I just remember laughing so hard because he was like, he thought it was like X-ray vision. But it just kind of reminded me, I'm like, we do stare at these things and like understand condition, even if you're not quote unquote a professional grader, which I don't really know what a certification of that looks like. Like we look for things in cards that like the average normal person like couldn't even wrap their brain around unless they were into it. So yeah, there's more than a few people who think their Machops are probably 50 grand at this point that don't really talk to anybody who get educated. They're just like, oh yeah, that's right. Or they heard about the Logan Paul sale. So like every card is worth 50 grand.
Or maybe they're just used to talking to people that don't know.
Yeah.
Or then they look at the eBay listings for the base set Charmander at like 20K and they're like, oh, my card, I have that same card.
No, the Pokédex classics. I loved your video on that. The top, I think it was 5 or 10 like most overpriced cards on eBay or whatever, and it was Pokédex. And I remember I laughed so hard at that. It was like, that is the funniest like card to choose out of everything.
You just search Pokemon card on eBay and you sort it in ascending order from most expensive to least expensive. There's a range where you will find that Pokédex is like over half of the listings, between like $20,000 and $5,000. It's just base set unlimited Pokédex. I'm like, where did this come from? Like at what point did like 5 or 10 listings pop up and then everybody bandwagon thinking like, well, if there's that many of them, then clearly it's worth that. So that's what I'm going to list mine for. Like somewhere there was a tipping point where the momentum caused more listings to come into play. But I don't know. It's just really interesting to me to see so many overpriced Pokédexes.
I wonder.
That's the word pokey in it. Maybe that's what it is.
I
bought
wonder
a
if the guy got it
collection
sold for 5,000. Like that's a little crazy. As I was vending, I got a few opportunities to buy, quite a few actually, and a few.
You stole some cards, bro. You stole some cards. Not in a bad way, but
not in. Well, listen, it was just so much.
You stole in a good way.
There was so much to comp that I told them, listen, like I can't comp everything, and I'm not going to throw an offer without comps. And so the couple that I did buy, but one stands out. He sold me like 10 slabs based on what they were, 7.5, 8s, 8.5s. There was that one Yu-Gi-Oh! Dark Magician card in there as well, BCCG, I believe is the label. It's a Beckett, but it's one of those, I don't even know what they are, but you find them in the stores packaged up and they come in, for free as a mystery, slab. But anyway, he says, hey, are you buying? Yep, it depends. And he shows me the stuff. I was like, oh man, dude, I can't comp everything and I don't have time. Like people are asking questions. Sorry, I think I'll have to pass with these many. He says, and based on the grades, he says, well, just make me an offer. And I was like, I really don't want to make you an offer, like, because I have to comp everything. He says, just throw an offer out. I said 125 just to shoo him off. And he says, okay, I'll take it. And I was like, wait, what?
Wow.
I was like, are you sure? I was like, are you sure? He goes, yeah, I'll take it. 125. I was like, okay, but we haven't comped anything. So some of these items might be higher, they might be lower, but we don't know until we comp. He goes, yeah, I'll take the 125. All right. Like, here it is. So throughout the day, I started comping and I wound up with like, I don't know, $650, which everything sold anyway by the end of the day, with the exception of the Dark Magician. And yeah, but my I guess what struck out to me based on that story that DNA shared is that a few people came up and they said, hey, are you buying? I'm like, yeah, sure, depending on what it is. And they would show me their card and they was okay, how much are you looking for it? They will say X price. I'm like, ooh, like just right off the bat, as a person that freaking lives on eBay and freaking PWCC and all these freaking websites, I said, no, that's like way far off. Like, I'm sorry, I apologize, but that's like way far off. Unless there's like something crazy that I'm missing that's special about this card. He goes, well, that's what I saw it go for on eBay. Pull out the eBay, look it up. And I'm like, no, like the last sold is like $50. Like, no, it is not $1,000. And he says, yeah, look, I even have a picture. Well, it's a buy it now, right? And he's going off the buy it now prices. But that story alone just tells me how some people in the hobby, maybe this person's not in the hobby, is just trying to offload whatever he had, but it's just like they're just not well versed in how to comp a card, or a slab, and it's based off of buy it nows. And even a few folks try to get me the buy it now sold listing, and I said, look, as a buyer, I can't go off of buy it nows because those are not the true sold prices. If anything, I have to go off of auction prices. And if there's 3 auction prices within the last week, I have to go off the least amount, the cheapest amount. If you have a 175 and one sells for 40, I'm looking at the 40 card because I'm taking all the risk. Some people are like, oh, wow, that's like very interesting stuff. That's like very in-depth, right? But for people like us, that's just stuff that
Normal
stuff, right? Exactly.
What was the best? So I missed the pretty much the second stream. What did the best? Was it your slabs? Because I've seen Java Akuma. He did fantastic with just cheap raw cards, which I have tons of cheap raw cards that I'd like to sell. Was it? But I also don't like with the slabs. I don't want to just have slabs on my table that aren't going to sell because I have tons of stuff I could sell, right? But if is it like the under $100 slabs that moved really well, or what?
Everything above 400 that I had did not sell. Every single item that I had over $400 did not sell. Everything.
What was your most expensive item?
Realistically, the Rayquaza for 2,300, which the last one sold calculating taxes $2,000. So I had it at 2,300. There were quite a few people interested in the card, obviously, but
Me being one of them.
Yeah,
I even brought it up. I was like, so like, what about this card? And he was like, yeah, I don't want to sell it. He's like, I just brought it just to bring it.
He's like 2250 DNA.
Yeah.
Josh gave me crap for the tag, but the last one sold, again, accounting for taxes, $22,000. I had the tag at 2,300, but I was not budging at 2,300. And but yeah, that was the most expensive. I did have Ponychu out there as eye candy, but everything else was in the high end. It was between that 400 to 650.
But what sold?
Is going back to the whole modern versus vintage. I had a few vintage cards between 200 and 400. In that first buyout that happened on Saturday, they weren't taking the $200 to $400 vintage. They were taking the $200 to $400 modern because. And I asked him, well, don't you want these Zards? Vintage Zards? And he goes, no, because that will be hard to move. I said, versus, and this is me, the ignorant one, right? There's like, versus the Hidden Fates, which is Ivy's Zard, like at 350. He goes, oh yeah, that would sell all day. I'm like, interesting. Like, these people have their shop. They know exactly what, they know exactly what sells, what doesn't sell. And a PSA 8 Charizard would not sell in their store, but a Hidden Fates Charizard will, and it just kind of spoke to the whole modern versus vintage. I'm like, yeah, there's modern, I guess, people that just came back into it or got hyped during the modern era after 2020. I guess that, that's what they know and that's what they're going to keep buying. So modern, to me, modern is going to sell very easily. And then anything that's sub 200 will sell very easily, especially in the sub 75 to 25 range.
I want to add 2 things to that really quick. So I recently graded a PSA 10, I think it's number 36, Reverse Hollow Expedition Blastoise. I graded that into a 10. That was my $18 sub. I got upcharged on that one. And the last sold, so Japanese or English e-reader, if anybody watching doesn't know, English e-reader reverse hollows do atrocious at auction. They are awful. You have to find the right buyer for it because most people want the hollow. Then you're talking about vintage, expensive cards. Your buyer pool shrinks. You're talking about reverse hollow, PSA 10, buyer pool shrinks. So they do terrible at auctions because obviously a lot of people who are interested might miss it. I had several people comp the card. I think I had 4 people looking to buy the card who were like, well, last auction sold was like 268 or something like that. And I explained to them, I was like, hey, I like really, you know, like my expertise. I don't have a lot of expertise and stuff inside this hobby, but my expertise is e-reader, English, and Japanese. And they were like, well, you know, this is last sold, you know, I'd offer you like 240, 220, you know, $200 for it. And I was like, you're talking about a PSA 10 reverse hollow vintage Blastoise. So I was like, I'm not selling it for $250. I was like, I know this is a buy it now item. And they were like, well, I can't pay more than last sold. I have to make a profit. And I was like, but if you list it as a buy it now, I was like, I guarantee you will have a buyer come along and you will make profit. And they're like, oh, I just can't do that. So one of the people, there's several like small people. One of the people was a Pokemon Network. I had like a lot of my vintage, like high grade stuff out. And I was like, hey, what are you offering on this? We were going back and forth. And he was like, well, last sold's 265 or 268. I don't remember exactly. It was somewhere around 260. And he was like, offer you 240 for it. And I was like, no. And I explained the same thing to him. And he's like, well, I can't pay more than last sold. And I was like, okay. That same night, I sold that card for 375 cash. And the guy knew the comps. And then when I came back and my eBay store opened back up that same morning, I had an offer for $400 cash. And I was like, or $400 on eBay. And I was like, it's just like knowing the market. And it's like knowing that last sold on specific items doesn't even mean that's last sold. It's just because people need to know when to sell. And that auction didn't even end at a bad time. It's just like those cards do not do well at auction. It's just like your buyer pool.
Yeah, you don't sell to a guy that's worried about selling it for profit. You know, you sell to the person that's trying to find that card, and they're probably the ones that's going to pay the most money because they know what it is. Like reverse hollows are ridiculously hard to get a 10 in.
Exactly.
They're hard pulls, period. They're hard to find, and then to get a 10, yeah. I mean, it's kind of like. Go ahead.
Well, and I was gonna say it's like, I walked up maybe 2 booths because I had a guy. It was at Flex God's booth who was like, "Hey, I'm interested in a lot of your stuff. If you want to go to my booth, it's over here. I'll see what we can do." And there were several booths that I like sold stuff to at retail price, like just because they were looking to collect it themselves. But you have the typical person who's like, hey, I'm going to offer you 50-70% of whatever last sold is. And I'm like, all right, well, I can just go list it on eBay and make the money myself. I just kind of wanted to broker a deal between us, you know? But say what you're going to say. And then I'll say one more thing. And I want to hear y'all's thoughts on this because there was actually, I haven't told Basic or anybody here. This was a really, really interesting thing I saw at Collecticon.
No, you go ahead. I want to hear this.
He builds it up.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to
Yeah.
top that real quick, and then I'm going to tell my awesome story.
Yeah. So I say really interesting just because I didn't know that this was like an error. We always, y'all know like Ghost Stamp cards, right? Like the Ghost Stamp Pikachu from the Zap deck. So there's a guy I was with who didn't have a YouTube channel. It was a wild night, so I don't remember the guy's name or who he was with. Actually, he was with Jacob.
Whoa.
He's with Jacob Alexander, I think was his name. If he's watching this, but he's the only guy who like recognized me. He's in the hotel lobby. And he was like DNA, and I was like, it's like I saw you on Pokenomics channel. I was like, I follow you, and I was like, you know, I have a small channel. Obviously, it felt kind of good, and I was like, hey, what's up? You know, but yeah.
Don't
So
lie,
he
you
started.
Heisman him. You were like, no fans today.
Yeah. Well, actually, I'd met so many people, and I was coming down the elevator, and I was walking back in, and he was walking out. They were going to the Whatnot trade event, and he was like, DNA, and I thought I'd already like met him before, and I was like, he's like, you want this event? I was like, yeah, man. I was like, I'll be down there in a second, like kind of like brushed it off. And I saw him at the event, and I was like, hey, I don't think I've met you before. We walked in, we started talking. His buddy had a Ghost Stamp, legitimately, you just shine a light to see it, but he had a Ghost Stamp Shining Steelix in like super, super minty condition. And I was talking to Nick because I was with Nick later on that night, and we don't even know if that's an error. So I was like, dude, you gotta try to call CGC and see if they would grade that, because there's like a clear indication that there was a first edition stamp meant to be there, but there wasn't one. It was like super, super gray where you could like I said, you had to have a light on to see it. It was just really interesting. So I'd never seen that error card before, never even heard of it. And I was like, you oughta hit CGC up, because like I bet the right buyer would pay you an exuberant amount of money for that card. Obviously, it wasn't as interesting because nobody has anything to say, but I thought it was really cool just because those error cards like that, you just don't find them, especially in a vintage, like shining, like desirable card like that.
Well,
I'm curious.
Here's a comment. I didn't know there were Ghost Stamps aside from base set.
There aren't, as far as we know. That's what was interesting.
I'm curious with you guys, like your inventory you brought, did you bring anything that had no comps that sold or you negotiated?
Pony
Or
Chew.
comps that were like 2 years ago? Yeah, other than Pony Chew. I told you to throw it on the table for $100,000 and just see what happens. Watch all the TikTokers like video $100,000 card at Long Beach. This is nuts.
I responded to your DM. I was like, 100K wasn't even an option. I was giving the people to decide what price I should give it. And I mean, I decided not to give it a price. That was just more of a, troll question, troll poll. But because some people were asking, I should say, some people were just glazing over it like it was nothing, right? And I paid no attention to it. So DNA came over, and I believe I put the price tag after DNA came over, and I got the idea. I was like, you know what? I should really put the price tag, because he looked at it, he held it. I was like, you know what? I should attribute a price tag. Just give it and see what happens. The moment, and I put 12K. The moment I put 12K on there, all of a sudden, any person that came to that specific display was like, whoa, what's that card? But it was just because of the 12K price tag, right? It was like, whoa, what's that card? That's a sick card. But yeah, there were quite a few cards that I had that were just what I would call the $20 slab. If it wasn't priced, it was just $20, right? And people came over, and one of the things that stood out, even if I had it at $20, 25, 30, 35. One of the things that stood out, I remember mentioning this at DNA because that was one of the first things he asked, hey, how's it going? How are sales going? Yada, yada. People were not negotiating. 2 people negotiated me down for $5 each. Everyone else bought at price tag, and I had everything priced based on the last sold auction. 5% if it was low end, 10% if it was higher end, in the couple hundreds. They were just buying it. They were not negotiating. And I was like, wait, what is this, like a California thing? And California just has the money, right?
Yes.
They don't care. And it's a $50 slab, who cares? But it's like, for example, Thrifty, which I apologize, Thrifty, because she DM'd me so early in the day, but I just couldn't keep up with like phone and then everyone just bombarding my booth. But she said, hey, keep that Adidas Pikachu 2013, 14, I believe, the soccer promo. Keep that one for me. We'll cut out a deal at Denver. Well, it was 6 hours after I saw it when it had already sold. The last one sold, I believe, $350. I had a tag for $395. The guy was like, "I'll take it." Like, okay, sure, that'll do. And that was one of the surprising things, just from the vending side, not from the the buying side. And again, I feel like at every other Collecticon, there's always negotiating going on. Would you take X? What's the lowest you can go? You always hear those phrases thrown out. At least in my booth, they were just like, $35, sure. $50, sure. $100, no problem. They would just say, what do you take? That was just a surprising thing that I found out.
I'll be curious what Denver's like. I know with mine, like whatever everybody's talking about, like modern has been selling like crazy. Like that's what everybody's interested in. Like I'm kind of screwed at that point, at least with the slabs that I have, except for if I get my PSA return back by then, but that's not Pokemon. But yeah, almost all the slabs I have are really almost all like late 90s stuff, like high grade late 90s stuff.
There'll be a great trade night though.
Yeah, that's what I'm counting on.
There'll be a lot of people there with cards that you'll want to trade for.
That's what my hope is and really where probably any deals that I'll make for most of my stuff is going to be made, because like I think outside of maybe like 3, maybe 4 slabs, I think probably the cheapest slab I'll have will probably be $800, and that's like
yeah.
But that's all I've really got to bring. I never really got into the volume side of things except for like Dragon Ball and Zelda, obviously. So until I get that stuff back, I think it's just going to be strictly like trade night stuff, or like making good trades with people.
Just to try. I mean, I got a lot of stuff, right? I'm kind of excited to be able to put a little bit of volume out there, even if it's like presenting it well in binders to do $1, $5, $10 raw cards, and then just slabs. I probably won't even bring like the $400 plus slabs then, and I'll just leave them at the house. And but it'd be great to move a bunch of $20, $30, $40 slabs. That'd be fantastic.
How did sealed product do? Like booster boxes, not the crazy ones that I know Trading Card World probably had, because I think they went to that, but like modern boxes or like $200, maybe $200 to $300 like sealed boxes.
I'll read this one quick.
Two things super quick, and then I want to let you answer that. I was going to vamp off of what you said earlier. What I was going to suggest for you,
you just got Kanye basic. I'm gonna let you finish.
Yeah,
But let me
I'm gonna let you finish. But no,
Shout out Kanye.
what I would say for you, Peak, is probably buy a bunch of modern, or maybe like open up some modern booster boxes. And it sounds silly to do, but open up some of the like high pull rates like VMAX Climax or something like that. Grade it with CGC, get the return back before Denver, and that way you have volume to move and you have stuff to fill. Because if you're only bringing $800, $400 stuff to Vin with, you're not going to sell shit. You might sell 1, 2, 3 items, but I mean, people that go there, like everything high end's overpriced. There was a Tyranitar from Wind from the Sea that I still need. I tried to buy. He had it for $900. Last sold was $7. I walked up to him and said, "Hey, I know comps on this card. I know that the last sold was $710. I was like, I'll give you $710 cash right now." And he goes, I couldn't go that low. I said, "Thanks. Have a good day." Basically,
he probably bought it for $710. He was the
buyer. Yeah, but like I would just have a bunch of like low price stuff, that way you can just move volume, because if you only sell 2 or 3 cards, it probably would still make sense, but I don't know what your profit margins are on that. But to what Basic said earlier about people not negotiating, when I walked up to him, he also said that out of all the sales he's done today, it was like at 2 p.m. on a Saturday. He goes, it was 2 or 3 p.m. He goes, "I've had 2 people run comps on me." He said that's about it, which I find pretty crazy. I mean, even if you're spending $50 on something, like something can save you $5 or $10, because a lot of those people probably could have ran comps, save $5 or $10, and you probably still would have done the deal. Basic, I'm sure.
I would have done it if they caught me based on the last auction. I would have came down again. I was 5 to 10% above last auction. I would have gone down 15%, to beat auction price, but no one did.
Well, that's also my thing, is like when it comes to like the higher end items I have, it's probably going to be more trade bait than anything, and like trade plus cash deals on like the trade nights. Like I'll still have stuff, and I keep harping on this, but if I get my PSA return, I'll have stuff in like the realistically like $40 to like $100 price range, like a good bulk of stuff. But I do want to get stuff over there that's like, especially if we have a whole section there from like the Pokenomics Discord, like worst case scenario, it's eye candy so everybody around me can sell stuff. The only other stuff that I have are my Dragon Ball Super like booster boxes that I've been selling. Actually, like, it's funny how much of those I've sold in the last like week, like 2 weeks. It's like every other day one sells, and I just keep raising the price. Like, and these are all over $200. So that's why I ask about sealed product. I don't really want to fly with sealed product, but if it sells like pretty regularly, that would be something I'd be open to either like shipping to Swami, just so I don't have to go through like TSA or whatever with it.
I got the advantage because I got a case of Yu-Gi-Oh. I'll have a case of Weiss. I'll have some sealed product that I'll be able to just take from my house, and I think sealed product will do well, especially like the cheap. I think I'm going to have the Pixar Weiss set by the time Collecticon, so people are definitely going to want to rip that, and that's a $51 box. So if I can put it at 80 or 90, I think it'll do fine. But yeah, I got some work to do to get all my raw cards like in binders and get them set up. Just especially like on the Magic side, I've had these Magic cards. I've had a couple tubs of Magic cards for years, and good stuff in there. But the interest for me to like put the work in to be able to get rid of them, but at the same time, like there's some really good stuff in there that I don't want to just bulk it out, because it's not bulk. A lot of it's not bulk, and so it'd be nice to just kind of like be able to, swap.
There was a guy there with 3 tables, who bought 3 tables just to sell Magic singles. So I bet you could, and there was like 5 people at his booth when I walked up to him. I bet you could do pretty well.
Yeah.
Raw is so hard to comp, is what I kind of found. A person that's only dealt with slabs really for the majority of, his collecting career as he got back into it, like Raw is so hard to comp because it has everything to do with at that specific, realm is condition. And how do you compare last auctions? Now you got to click on pictures. Now you got to click on how does mine compare to those? Where if it's a PSA 10, well, you just comp it based on a PSA 10. That's it, right? We have it all figured out. But going back to your question of the sealed, it was a funny story. So, we had 2 tables. One's Ivy's, one's mine. And, we have it all set up. And the displays take up all the space. But at some point, Ivy comes back from the MetaZoo tournament. And again, congrats to her. She did 36th or 39th out of 150. So that was pretty awesome. But she comes back in her halftime. She's like, "Hey, how are the sales going?" And I'm like, "Oh, pretty good." I'm giving her a story. She says, "Where are the boxes? Her modern boxes, right?" She had a Evo box was the most expensive, and then she had a few modern. I was like, "Oh, crap! I totally forgot." But I haven't even had a chance to freaking bring them out because it's been so busy. Okay, she after like 5 minutes, she walks off. I start bringing them out. And the moment I bring out these freaking boxes, and we're talking about, I'm forgetting the sets now, but the one that stood out was Evolving Skies. The moment Evolving Skies, and I did put it on the very top because it's Evolving Skies. I swear to you, it didn't last a minute and a half. The first guy that saw it was like, "Hey, how much for the Evolving Skies?" I was like, "Damn, I haven't even caught in my head." I'm like, "Damn, I haven't even comped it." So I just said, "Oh, I'm just going off the last comp. I wanna meet that." He's like, "Okay, what is that?" I'm like, I don't know. Let's find out. I pull it out, auction comp. Okay, well, here it is. So I guess I'll take this. And he says, "Yep, I'll take it." I'm like, "Oh, crap." And then a lot of people were just asking on prices all day long on I want to say Battle Styles, but Vivid Voltage was the other one, and everyone was inquiring about the prices and moreover the slabs. Evolving Skies, everyone was trying to trade, not for Evolving Skies, Evolutions. Everyone was trying to trade for Evolutions box. What trade value can I get for this? Everyone was freaking out over Evolution. So if any one of you guys have been sitting on a case of Evolutions,
Not Evolutions.
Hit up Jake. He's got the whole bunker full of it, I'm sure.
Yeah. I mean,
But,
like the Magic singles, I'm
about
fine
to
with
bounce
just
out though, y'all.
All right, take it easy, man.
Yeah. Sorry.
You
Yeah.
know,
See, man.
like those Magic singles. Like if there's a sale for $50, I don't mind putting it up for 30 because I've had it for years, right? So I'll probably be like easily price those and just go cheap on it. But I know peak that. What are you thinking? You cutting it?
Am
I
I
don't want
what?
to keep you. Are you cutting it?
Oh, no, we can go for a few more minutes. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm just looking at it. I'm like, yeah, got some stuff that you don't want to grade, but some stuff that I don't want to take photos of and post to eBay for, and then like deal with all the questions about condition because it is tough to get condition from eBay, and I don't want to deal with it on eBay, but it would be nice to move a lot of raw stuff, probably thousands of dollars worth of just $20 cards,
Let's just take all of our bulk. We'll mail it to Swami. We'll put a big box in the middle of one of the tables. It'll just be dollar bulk.
It better
Everybody,
be. You better be
$1 card.
careful. My wife has a limit, and as soon as she hits that limit, she's chucking it.
Is it first come
Tommy
first
can be the
serve?
new troll and toad bulk service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, Emily, I'm making 2% on all this, okay?
Are all the
He's like, so
tables-
how many do you have to sell? And he's like, 10,000, but whatever. It's fine.
Are all the tables booked? I want to say Nick was the one that bought the island. Have all the tables been booked? Just curious.
Yes.
I
But there
think
will be
we-
room.
Do we have one table open though?
No, it got booked.
Okay.
I forget who it was that asked about it, but it was in the Discord, I think, today. Maybe something like that this morning. But there's room. I mean, if you bring stuff, like, I'm sure somebody will. I mean, I'm not going to have like a ton of inventory. So, like, whoever splits a table with me, like, you'll have plenty of space.
one thing I got to do is ask the convention center for a room, see if they'll let us like rent a room, because they have a bunch of rooms, set up for like during conferences. Maybe someone can do a teaching. They can teach a class. If I could rent a room that anyone could like go back to, and outside of the convention just go hang out at, that's something I got to do.
Are you
call
thinking
them.
like a trade night type thing, or just pure?
Well, like trade night, I doubt they'll let us go past like 6 p.m. or something. But just for during, like if you wanted to get out, maybe get out of the convention, maybe go talk to people from a Discord or a meetup spot that you wanted to meet someone at. It's kind of nice. It'd be nice to have a room where it's not just filled with people, and it's a nice convention center. It's huge. It's pretty good. It'll be a good
I
time.
wish they would go ahead and announce the hotel details already. I'm ready to get that booked and not have to like remember to do it at this point.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be a good time. It'll be fun to meet everybody and hang out again. Is your wife coming, Basic?
No. Classics, are you vending?
I don't think so, but I might bring some stuff with and like talk to somebody and be like, here, if I put these out and you sell them for me, you can have 10% or something. I don't know. We'll see.
Dude, come by and just throw it at the Pokenomics section. You don't have to pay for anything. Just throw it on the table.
Yeah, I just don't want to sit
Whatever.
around and be responsible to watch over all my crap that I bring, and I don't want to bring a ton of stuff. But if somebody wants to like sell it for me, I'd probably reimburse people for their time.
Who are all the known vendors that are sharing tables and whatnot from this Knicks from Old School's Island?
You got Old School, Peaked At, me, Dan, Jake, Mason, Java got a table. Gosh, I don't want to like say someone's name that isn't actually getting a table. Let me see here.
Jake said he'll do it. So there you go. Consider it sold, Classics.
Great, I
You got
made
Jake
up
on it?
on that. Thank you.
I'm excited to hang out and do that. It's gonna be a good time. And I'm an early bird anyway, and I think I gained like an hour or two in Colorado from Texas. So
I don't
I'll be
plan
up,
on
like-
sleeping.
yeah, it's
I'll probably be up.
well,
I'll probably be up from Friday to Sunday.
yeah. I'll
can
probably
do
be
it.
right there with you at some point. I should be able to keep up.
I'm a power
Anytime
napper. Just give me
Okay.
like 35 minutes with my eyes closed, and I'll be good for like 4 hours.
See, I wish you'd sleep with your eyes open. It's like, what is Swami doing over there? Oh, he's power napping. You're just like, like in the zone.
Ooh, Chev is going to Denver. He just said he officially booked his ticket. So Chev's
Nice.
He's staying at my place.
Oh, nice. Who's not
And there's
staying at
a-
your place, Swam?
I got Mason, Jake, and his girlfriend in Chevels, and then I've got room. Like I could throw another couple air mattresses down, but it'll get tight. I don't have a very big house.
no.
So that's why you're not going to sleep, because Jake's going to keep you up opening product all night.
Yeah, I've already hidden all the product. It'll
Yeah, I
go
was
straight
gonna
from. He's gonna miss it all.
How great would it be to get the Swami Jake stream for like 6 hours and Jake just rummaging through like random like Whis and Magic and just like ripping
I got Flesh and Blood. I got Weiss. I got Marvel. I got Pokemon Japanese. I got some vintage Yu-Gi-Oh! Bandai Cardass sealed. I got a lot of fun stuff to open. Yeah.
I'm excited to see the Marvel stuff, man. That is I've never even like held them, so it'll be cool to see them in person and like check some of that
Yeah.
out.
They're impressive, man. It's a lot of fun. All of Marvel is it's a blast.
Yeah, Swami's gonna need one of those secret rooms where it's like he has a bookcase, but then you just like move it, and you're gonna need one of those.
It's called the attic. It's called the attic.
Just don't have any keys to lock your stuff because Jake will take those too. from what I found out. He took Dan's binder cabinet keys during that spree he went on, which is pretty great.
That was such awesome.
Did he mail those back to him?
I don't know what he did with them. I remember we talked about it, but he was like, I just had these keys. And I was like, I don't know how I got them. I think Dan got them back.
I
Who knows?
assumed on the drive back that he got him, but
I would hope so. But well, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and call it. It's fairly late. I know some of you guys are in different time zones as well. So appreciate everybody hanging out. We had a decent group of people. Chat was fun. Thanks for the after hour stream, guys. These are some of my favorites, and these only happen whenever I do evening episodes. So definitely hit me up next time. I think it'll probably be when Echo Base is on. I think that's a night stream, same time at like 9:15. But anyway, hope everybody has a good night, and go to Denver. If you've not bought your ticket, if you've not decided, we've sold you. Go. You can open up all Swami's product. Basic will definitely discount his slabs for you. Just pull up false comps. He's ready to go under 15%. You've heard all the tips to go. So you'll make a killing.
Super Bowl I, Denver. Go.
I did like that. Super Bowl I. All right, guys. Well, take it easy. I appreciate everybody, and I will see you later.
See you
Hey, guys.